Hello, I'm Alex Mansfield, the host of Manny Talks Shooting, and welcome to another episode. This is the shooting podcast where I talk to individuals all across the shooting industry. We'll talk competition, self-defense, concealed carry. If you like this content, check out our YouTube channel, Manny Talks Shooting. And without further ado, let's get to this episode. Welcome, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of Manny Talks Shooting, the shooting podcast that I started because I can, and I want to talk to people on the internet because it's socially acceptable, and I think you enjoy it too. Anyways, guys, we got to plug today's title sponsor. The title sponsor of the podcast is Mr. Bill Duda at Go Fast Don't Suck. He supports us, so we support him. Go get your dry fire targets, your match jerseys. If you're a match and you need banners, go hit up Bill, and he probably will get you the best price in the market because he's fabulous, and we love him for it. So go check out gofastdon'tsuck.net. Tell him Manny sent you. Move on with your day and have a fabulous one as you're listening to this podcast. Without further ado, let's get to today's guest. Today's guest is Mr. Chris Jenner from the channel of Chris from the 714. How you doing, Chris?
I'm good. Thanks for the invite. I've been looking forward to this.
Yeah, I mean, you're probably one of my most loyal listeners, it seems like, and we just both happen to do media, so it's might as well get this over with, right?
Yep.
Even though you're from Ohio, but it's
Yeah.
okay. It's okay. It's okay. You destroy us in all sports, so it's fine. But yeah, so Chris, for people who don't know you, who are you, and how did you even start on this shooting thing?
So how I grew up on a game reserve. We moved out there when I was 8 years old, so I was pretty much raised around guns and hunting. My dad was a pretty big hunter, and that was pretty much my childhood. We had a game reserve on one side of us and all farmland on the rest of us, so pretty outdoorsy kid. And how I got into competition shooting is kind of a weird story. How I got into that, I was a member of one of the local gun clubs, and we had to donate 12 hours of time per year to the club. That was part of the membership. And so I chose to donate my time to the UBR matches, which is Ultimate Bench Rest, if people that don't know what UBR stands for. And one of the biggest reasons I did that was because I knew those guys were big reloaders, and I was kind of new into reloading, and I wanted to pick those guys' brains because you can always get pretty good info from bench rest shooters. So during that time, I met a guy named Glenn who was a 3-gun shooter, and he invited me to come shoot a 3-gun match with him. And I did that, and it was fun. I enjoyed it. And during that 3-gun match, I ended up meeting my best friend, Keith, who I travel around doing most of my USPSA shooting with. And he had invited me to a place called Dog Valley, which is a gun club that doesn't exist now. And my first match I shot there was Falling Steel. And I really enjoyed that. And I went back the next month, shot another Falling Steel. And on the drive home, Keith asked me, he said, "You want to try USPSA?" And I said, "Sure. What is it?" I had no idea what it was. And so I came home, watched some videos, and I thought, this is going to be fun. I'm so used to just standing in one spot, shooting at, static targets all the time. And now I'm going to get a chance to learn how to move around, shooting through ports and around barrels and walls. And so we went back to Dog Valley the following month, and that's how I got into USPSA. And that ended up being my favorite. And I pretty much just shoot USPSA, and that's it now.
That's pretty cool. Now, you said you grew up near a game reserve or on a game reserve. What was that reserve typically stocked with?
A lot of a lot of white-tailed deer out there, coyotes, just a lot of rabbits, squirrels, typical animals in Central Ohio.
Yeah. So typically people would come and hunt whitetails there, essentially.
Yeah. So it was all public hunting ground. So yeah, during deer gun season, it'd get a little crazy out there. Just cars and trucks parked everywhere.
Yeah, and then at every hour of the day, right? The people who go out before sunrise and don't come out until sunset.
Yeah,
It's it doesn't matter what temperature, it's too cold for that shit.
yeah.
So that's pretty cool. I'm assuming you took your first deer there.
Oh no, actually, I didn't. I wasn't much of a deer hunter as a kid growing up. I pretty much would hunt rabbits, squirrels. I love shooting groundhogs. I'd spend the whole spring just going around the block shooting groundhogs in the farmers' fields. I never shot my first deer till I believe 2018 was when I finally decided to go on a deer hunt.
Oh wow, that's kind of impressive. Because of living on a game reserve, you'd think that'd be like, oh, that's the first thing we're gonna do, right?
Yeah, yeah. No, my dad would bow hunt a little bit during deer season, but yeah, we just weren't a big deer hunting family.
Yeah, my family is, but I never really was. I always fell asleep in the deer blind. That's usually how it go. I'd always be sitting next to my uncle, and he'd be waking me up like, "Did you see that?" I'm like, "No, I was asleep. Leave me alone." But you go out, sometimes you'd go out just for the companionship, or make them feel better, right?
Oh yeah.
Yep. So no, and I actually didn't know what UBR was, because I'm not a FUD. No, just kidding. I just didn't know what bench rest shooting was. I mean, I knew there was bullseye, or all these different disciplines, but
Right.
didn't know what UBR stood for. So that's kind of cool. Yeah, that you're probably correct. They know a lot about reloading that nor I will ever know.
Yeah, they had some weird things. Like some guys would only store the ammo in the case upside down, or some of them had to be pointing straight up. And I even saw a guy one time that had reloading equipment right there on the bench. Like if he had to make an adjustment on something. Yeah, they were really, really picky with their
But I'm
reloading.
assuming it'd be like a single stage, right? Or was it a turret?
Yep. Yep.
Oh, thank you. I mean, I could understand using a single stage or a turret, but like taking it to the range with you and lugging all that crap.
Yeah, and it wasn't, I can't remember what the name of that press was. I asked that guy about it one time, and I think it was made by Lee. It was a real little compact, like portable unit. But yeah, those guys were way over the top on reloading.
I mean, I do have a preference on which way the cartridges go in the plastic cases, purely for the fact that they're easier to grab, in my opinion.
Oh yeah, especially 9mm. I can't get my big hands down in there and grab that round nose bullet.
Yeah, I gotta grab the rim, and I just chuck them in. But I also I'm a wuss. I gotta use the loader.
Yeah. Well, I use the ETS mag loaders too, so I can just slide that strip right across the case and grab 10 of them at a time.
Okay, that's something I never thought about. That actually makes really sense, especially if it's just in the case.
Yeah.
And then you just got to remember you count to 20, and then maybe you hand load a couple, and then you're done.
Yeah.
So that's really cool. So when did you decide to start a YouTube channel?
So how the YouTube channel actually got started. So when I got into the USPSA, there was 4 or 5 of us guys that were always traveling to every match together, shooting together. Just a bunch of friends. We were going to have a good time. We'd always squad together. And my son would travel to those matches and film us. So he was always in the background with a camera filming the match. And I would go home and edit those videos and then send them to the guys when I was done editing. The problem was we were sending these videos through like Instagram Messenger, Facebook Messenger. So the video quality was like completely degraded by the time the guy got his video. So we started uploading them to Dropbox. And then I would send a link to the guys, say, hey, you can download your video now. When you're done, just let me know you downloaded it and I'll delete it off my Dropbox. Well, half of them couldn't figure out how to do that. So finally I was like, let's just start a YouTube channel. I'll start up a channel. I'll upload all the videos. They'll be in 4K. You can share the links, on Facebook, Twitter, any social media, if you want to share it so your friends can watch it, and you can log in at any time and watch your videos. So that was actually how the YouTube channel started. It was just a place for us to put our match videos.
It's actually really smart. I never thought about that. Like, have one guy just taking all the video and then just posting it onto a YouTube channel.
Yeah.
Or even you can keep it private, you just send the link out and they can watch it.
Yeah. So that was how it started. And I later on I had how I started making content was I had a high point 10 millimeter carbine. And one of the biggest downfalls to those are the 10 round mags.
Mm-hmm.
And I had heard on some forums that guys were taking the red ball mags, which are the 20 rounders, but they only make them for 9 and 45. And somebody had got one to feed 10 millimeter out of the 45 mag. So I was at a local gun store. I was looking through the magazines. I found one. I got it home. I started messing around. I put some 10 mil in it, but it kept popping back out because of the feed lips. Mm-hmm. So I started doing some tweaks on it. And I thought, I ought to just do a YouTube video on this. No one has a video on how to do this. So I'll do a video and show people how I got 10 millimeter to feed out of this 20 round 45 cal mag. And I posted that video and a bunch of people started watching it. And I came home and I told my wife, I'm like, I kind of enjoyed making that video. I think I'm going to start doing content. And that was how I got started.
Mm-hmm. So would you say that video is your most successful, or is one really taken off then?
No, there's more now that are more successful than that was, but that was just a video. I got a lot of comments on it. People, were saying, hey, this helped me out. I didn't know I could do this. And so it was just cool. It was kind of satisfying to had made something that helped a bunch of people out. And I was hooked on it from there. So I started, that was the beginning of the YouTube journey.
Yeah. Now, if you had to pick one of your videos, which one would have been your favorite one to make?
Oh, man. I'm going to say it's one that I haven't even posted yet, it's done, it's edited. One nice thing about having a YouTube channel is people like to let you borrow their guns because they want to see them on YouTube.
Yeah.
So even though I shoot the PCC division in USPSA, I love shooting open guns. So a few weeks ago, I had a Phoenix Trinity Honcho loaned to the channel, and I took it to the range, and it was set up to run 9 major. And I got a smile on my face the whole time in that video. That gun was just amazing.
Yeah. Well, that is pretty cool. Now, that one was set up for a lefty, I'm assuming?
Yes. Yeah. And that's a nice thing too. The guy that I borrow the open guns from is left-handed. So.
Right. Cause it's very uncommon to, someone to have a left-handed gun. Now, is the mag release on the proper side for a lefty?
No, not on the Phoenix Trinity. So now the main gun that he used, which I reviewed a few months ago, was a Lone Star Customs. Mm-hmm. And I do believe it did have the mag release on the left, our side.
Yeah. On the left person side.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's definitely the one disadvantage to 2011s or 1911s. They don't really come left-hand friendly.
Yeah. Yeah, both of them had the gas pedal over on the left hand for me. Both of those guns were super nice, but the Honcho was definitely my favorite out of those two. Mm-hmm. Biggest mistake I made that day, though, I was reviewing two 2011s. I was doing the Phoenix Trinity and the Staccato P, and I should have shot the Staccato P first, because after putting the Phoenix Trinity away, I'm like, yeah, this isn't as much fun.
Yeah, it never really is, right? When you you're shooting a custom or a raced out gun, for USPSA or something, it's super competition focused, and then you pick up like a stock Glock or something, you're like, can we not? But I mean, that's just usually how it goes, right? Like, or there's a trigger you haven't touched, like when you haven't gunsmithed this trigger yet, then it's like, this needs a lot of work, and then you've got the one that you've already messed with and it's beautiful, and it's a cheater gun. But yeah, so I'm excited. My 2011 will come soon. I'm hoping soonish.
Yeah, I knew you were going to be moving to open.
Yeah, and what the worst part is, The gun's not the most, like, yes, the gun is expensive, right? But it's all the other crap that then you have to think about that you have to buy because of the gun.
Yeah.
Like, you got to upgrade your reloading setup a little bit. You know, you got to have really good dies. You got to get a bunch of extra crap that you didn't think you needed until you buy an open gun.
Right. Now, are you going to run 9 major? Or are you going to do 38 super comp? Or
I'm gonna be in the 9 major boat. From people I've talked to and what my builder, recommends and what he builds is, 9 major guns. So it was appealing to go think about 38 super comp, but the fact is you can't find brass hardly at all nowadays due to COVID. It's like it's not even worth shooting. And if you go to a range, if you get an indoor range friend who likes you and like this works there, they can pick all the brass for you, and then you just take it home. I wish I had time to go work at a gun store that had a range to then just claim brass. Don't even pay me. Just pay me in brass.
I didn't know much about 38 super comp last year, and when I was spotted up with Hyder, and he was picking up his brass, like, and I was asking him, like, he goes, try to find 38 super comp brass right now, Chris. He said it's impossible. So
oh, it is, and it's horrible.
Yeah.
But now you know how the ARs have those brass bags that you can hook up onto the Picatinny.
Yeah,
they need to find a way to like hook it to your arm, and then you can tune the ejection pattern like right in there, so it just picks them all up.
That would be perfect.
My eyes are really good at finding super comp though, just because it's like, ooh, super comp.
Yeah.
But shit, like you clean it and you sell it, it's like 15 cents a case.
Yeah. Yeah, it's expensive.
But people will buy it.
Oh yeah.
Oh, I know people. They'll buy it, which is great. But speaking of Mr. Hyder, it's kind of cool. He's now with MPA, and your son, didn't he do the photos and videography after he got his jerseys and whatnot?
Yeah, he did. We I shoot with Hyder a few times a year. He only lives about 50 miles south of me. He's a good friend. I really enjoy shooting with him. We were at Crawford just shooting a local match. He was getting tuned up for, I don't remember if it was an area match he was going to, but he was trying to get some practice in. And I talked to the match director and I said, hey, when we're done, could we leave a stage set up and shoot some video and pictures? And he was super cool about it. So yeah, it worked out good. So Andrew and me and my son, we all went over there about a half hour and just kept shooting the stage with the cameras set up at different places, and it was a good time.
That is pretty cool, yeah. And that's always the best when the match director's cool with it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then you don't got to worry about, oh no, it's got to be super safe. But I mean, I understand that too, though. But that is cool, it worked out for him, and yeah, he just got his fancy jerseys, and I think he was going to Tennessee. If I remember right, that time frame, he was going to Tennessee.
Yeah.
Yeah. So now, how many cloaks to you? What you've got? Cardinal, Crawford, and what? Briar Rabbit.
Yeah. So Briar, I shoot a lot at Briar. That's 2 hours south. Crawford used to be the closest. It was about a 35-minute drive for me. But Cardinal now is like 25 minutes away. So going to be pretty exciting next year, especially with them hosting 2 nationals. I'm going to be able to go there and do a lot of filming and stuff. So,
oh yeah, that'll be definitely nice. You don't even have to shoot, even though they have the wrong divisions in Alabama. I'm just going to say it now. They should have put open and PCC at Cardinal because it was close.
Yeah. So it'll be fun. I love shooting Buckeye Blast at Briar Rabbit, but I think it's going to be a good time at Cardinal. And Dan and Corey, man, I mean, they're just doing amazing stuff with that club down there.
Oh yeah, like they shoot Steel Challenge and USPSA on the same weekend, and it's like they're doing a lot of events there, like locally for them, which is awesome. They're getting tuned up for the Buckeye in May. So it'd be exciting to see how that goes. I know they posted it on Practice Score, but I don't think it opens up until January.
Yeah.
But that's it's exciting because Dan's going to be a match director / range master. I think if it's still correct on USPSA. So, but I'm excited too. I'll come down to Ohio, even though it's like sacrilege. I don't know. It's weird to come south of the border into that state. Oh, Indiana's fine, but it's when you go into Ohio territory, it's weird.
Yeah.
But yeah, so brain fart. But hey, we're okay. Have you taken any like shooting classes at all?
I've only taken one class. I took some pistol training from a guy who was trained by Bob Vogel, just a local guy here. But really, that's about it. I've been fortunate that I guess I've just learned a lot watching other shooters through the years. You know, I've only been doing this for 3 years now, but I've been lucky enough to I get to shoot and hang out with a lot of guys that are master shooters and GMs. So it's cool to just pick everything apart, watch what they're doing, and try to learn some stuff.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And it's got to be nice, you have Caleb Smith kind of close, Anthony Zabonik, who'd been shooting PCC, or what, Zambrisky? Yeah. Yep, Ryan
Yeah.
So you get all these great shooters locally, which is nice. I mean, unfortunately up here we don't have the depth of field like it is in Ohio. Like we might have a couple masters and a GM or two, but it's not like they come to every local. So
Yeah.
the guys winning the match are like B class or A class, and it's like, this is not a true test. This is not a true representation of performing at a major match.
Yeah, when we were talking earlier in the beginning of the interview, when I was talking about Dog Valley, when that was the first place I shot, like my first probably 4 or 5 USPSA matches, and it was a who's who of who was going to show up down there. I mean, that was the first time I got to watch Vlieger shoot in person, and when you're just starting out in USPSA and you see a guy like that, you're like, is this guy an alien? Like, is this even humanly possible to shoot this fast? And that's where I met Chris Keene, Ben West, both of those guys, Phoenix Trinity shooters. That's where I met Hyder. That was the first time I met Hyder, was at Dog Valley. And he was squatted up with Chris up your way. I don't want to butcher his last name, Arache.
Yeah, Man Bun. Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't even know how I ended up falling on that squad that day, but that was a who's who of good shooters there.
Yeah, and then they all do their nerd talk about like, oh, we got to go over here, you got to lose time over here. It's just like we're just gonna go shoot the stage. I mean, yes, I mean most people think about those things, but yeah, I agree. Like watching like those top level guys like Vlieger and Hyder shoot, it's like crazy. It's like how do you move that fast? Like,
yeah.
Although I will say, when I first got introduced to Andrew, all I saw was his face and his beard, because it was on like a conference call. So you see his beard and his face. So you're like, oh, he's got a long beard. He's gonna be a big dude. You meet him. I met him in person at the 2020 Rhine Rocks. And he's like the shortest thing ever. I'm like, wait, who are you? Yeah.
Yeah, we definitely look funny standing side by side. That's for sure.
Yeah. But you never know. You never know who you're going to meet on the range, right? You're going to meet, ex-racers, gynecologists, accountants, janitors.
Oh, yeah. Doctors, lawyers. I mean, it's amazing, all the friends and people that I've met in different professions. And
yeah, and everyone's super friendly, it seems like, that comes into the sport. They want to make everybody feel welcome.
Yeah.
I mean, unless they're really having a bad day, usually everyone wants to make you feel welcome.
Yeah.
No, I got to meet Chris. I met Chris this year at the Michigan sectional. I started on his stage, of course, and so that was the wonderful thing. I was like, "Oh, great, we're starting on this stage," and that was the wrong stage to start on.
Yeah,
it was not a complete disaster factor, but it was like there was a 25-yard bobbing target with a no shoot on it. It was like you had to pick all the mags up off of barrels, and it's like, oh, this is no fun. Like this is like the wrong stage to pick to start on.
Yeah.
But you don't know that when you sign up on practice score for what state, you just pick, squad 25. That works. Sunday at stage 5. Yeah, wrong idea.
Yeah.
And then by the time you realize it, it's too late to move squads. because you can't get everybody to move to the same squad.
Yeah, that and there's like a whole different level of pressure too when you're shooting those bigger matches like that. Like I remember my first major, I just jumped in with both feet, went straight to area 5, and that was just crazy. Like
And that was down in Kentucky, right? The first year of Kentucky.
Yeah.
Yeah, Leif puts on a good match, and that I just wish that it was less rocky down there.
Well, that and the day we shot on Sunday, it rained for 8.5 hours. Just the entire match, it just rained and never stopped.
Yeah, that definitely kills the mood, especially like when you don't. Well, you probably were prepared for rain, but not that prepared for rain.
Right. Yeah, we had the tarps, to put over the carts and the rain gear and all that, but it was just wet all day. It was just miserable.
Oh yeah, that's no fun, not at all. Now you said you were talking about you shoot PCC. What you want to tell the listeners what PCC or what mods you've done to it?
I shoot a little bit. I probably shoot a gun that most PCC shooters don't. I run a Ruger PC carbine. It's in a tandem cross chassis. It's all modified for left hand, so it's got a jawbone tactical left hand mag release on it. I had a guy make me a left-handed safety, which basically was made for a Ruger 1022 that was fitted for it. I run an MBX comp. I ran a Holosun 510C red dot on it forever, but when when Monstrum Tactical came along and started sponsoring my channel, I started running some of their dots, tested different ones out, and now I'm running the Marksman 1x20 Prism actually on it. It is converted to run Glock mags, so I don't have to mess with the Ruger magazines. So I run Glock 33 round factory mags, and then I have my main mag that I use is the MBX Mini, so it bumps my 33 rounder up to 47 rounds.
Oh, that's nice then. Yeah, that's a pretty cool setup though. I wouldn't expect a Ruger PC carbine to be shot in USPSA, but at least you're smart and it takes Glock mags.
Yeah, and it was running very reliably. I ended up having to do a complete rebuild on it this year. It had about 25,000 rounds through it, and stuff was just starting to wear out. So I did a complete rebuild on it back in September. It's running just like it did new now, but I never had any issues with it up till about August, and it was just time. A lot of parts needed swapped out on it.
Yeah. Now, did you ever have issues with brass ejecting onto your arm being left-handed?
Oh yeah. When I come home, I always got a nice powder burns all up and down my arm right here.
Yeah.
So
yeah, that's got to be the one downside of really being a lefty is like your arm's getting smoked with brass.
Yeah.
if it's an AR or a carbine or a 22, it's not.
I am ready to build an AR. I definitely want to do the AR9 now. I'm hoping this winter I'm going to get one built. One of my live shows, I did an interview with Mike Seifert, Corey Shield, and Zabonic were all on. And Mike was kind of hinting around at something, and I didn't want to say anything about it. And then a few weeks later, it popped up on Da Vinci's Instagram that they were going to make a dedicated left-hand lower. So if they do end up doing that, I will definitely be buying that lower and getting started on building one.
Yeah, it'd be interesting if they built a whole left-hand gun, but the problem is that the charging handle still wouldn't be on the correct side for you.
Right.
Because I don't think you can build out that side of the gun without it blowing up.
No, I don't know how we'll do that, but I was kind of exciting to see that, and and I just want to run one of Corey's roller delayed systems too. So.
Yeah, Corey's both Corey's are cool, dude. Mr. Katz and Mr. Shield. I got to talk to Mr. Shield again. I talked to him at Area 5, but I got to get him at some point to chit chat. But
oh, he'd be a great. Yeah, he's fun. You'd have a good time interviewing him.
Yeah, when I met him at Area 5, he told me before the make ready, he's like, my gun's really quiet. I'm like, that's fine. I'll be up your ass, but I will not be in your way.
Yeah.
So because he wasn't getting a reshoot out of me, I got his time. Which it's always fun when someone gives you a challenge. Essentially, it's a challenge. Just make sure you don't fuck up, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I met Corey DSS up at Dynamic Shooting Sports. That was first time I met him, and then he was shooting at Battle for the North Coast when I didn't shoot it that year. I was just down there doing some filming, and I got to talk with him. But yeah, he's a good friend. He's a cool guy.
Yeah. Now, how far is Battle of the North Coast typically for you?
2.5 hour drive.
Okay. Because
Not too bad.
Is that at Crawford? No, that's at DSS or DS. Yes, DSS. Yes.
No, it's at a place called Crooked Creek, which is
that's
just
right.
a little further away than DSS yet. But
Yeah. Yeah. I talked to Corey. I'm supposed to be there for the Battle of the North Coast in 2023. We'll see. Depending on if I can convince the wife to let me leave for nationals.
yeah. Yeah, DSS is, if you ever get a chance to shoot a match there or even to go to Battle for the North Coast, because Scott Beebe that runs Dynamic, he designs some crazy hard stages.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he's very he puts a lot of time and effort into those stages to make them super hard for everybody.
Yeah, and that's always fun. You got to make them challenging, yet make them fun. Last couple years I've seen of the Battle of the North Coast stages always look pretty good too.
Yeah.
And that's kind of the point for me this 2023 is to shoot major matches, travel a little bit, yet stay closer to home-ish.
Yeah.
Although I wanted to go to nationals this year, but I just couldn't make it work with all that going on. So
yeah, Area 5 was in your area this year, wasn't it?
Yep, it was at my home club. So
okay.
I mean, only an hour away from my house, so I can't pass that up. And luckily enough, it'll be in 2023 as well.
Yeah, and you guys do the Ryan Rocks up there too, and that's a really good match, isn't it?
Yeah, Ryan Rocks. Yeah, they're about so for my house, that's about an hour and 15. But yeah, Ryan Rocks is an awesome charity match to get some kids in need who to get them into the outdoors. So
that's cool.
Yeah. Jeffrey Garrick puts on that match every year, and this year was the 10th annual, so we're gonna make the 11th even better. So yeah, so thanks guys for stopping through the middle of this awesome episode with Mr. Chris Jenner from Chris from the 740. It's been an awesome conversation, but we got to plug the sponsors of the podcast because without them, it's just not as official. But anyway, as you see behind me, title sponsors made by Go Fast Don't Suck. They make banners, match jerseys, everything you need, the memes to entertain you during your work week that are a little hurtful but true. But anyway, gofastdon'tsuck.net, guys. Don't forget, Hunter's HD Gold. Brian's the hardest working man in the shooting sports. He's fabulous. He go to all these major matches, putting out great ideas for people and improving the vendor area. So go thank Brian at your next match. Then we've got Dominate Defense. DominateDefense.com, guys. Mach 1 speed belt combos, 10% off. Manny Talks 10 is the code. Use it. Tell Jason I sent you and have a great day because they're fabulous belts. You will not burn one out. Even if you're a heavy dry fire, heavy shooter, they're going to last 4 to 5 times longer than any double alpha belt ever did for you. Next, we have DivTech. DivTechShop.com for Manny Talks Shooting for 10% off your whole order. So go get a 3D printed magnet kit and be happy because you can accessorize it in every awesome color that matches your rig. Because they're awesome and affordable, go get them. Manny Talks Shooting gets you 10% off. I need to buy more. So, hey, there you go. Don't forget TargetsUSA.com. Targets USA is fantastic and makes the finest steel targetry on the planet. Steve Anderson says it, and so do I. I'm going to use that thing all day long because it's true, and Jason Wood makes awesome products for me and you. I think the coolest thing right now is honestly those awesome activator stop boxes or push pads or the one that releases when you lift your foot off it. It's amazing. It's kind of cool. It's innovative. It's going to change the next match you go to. Don't forget, we got Laugh and Load. Our friends over at Tony and Jackie over at Laugh and Load or the Pew Time podcast. Fabulous friends of mine from the Chicagoland area. Make sure you go get an AFT agent t-shirt, a Supreme Division, open division shirt maybe because only shoot open. I mean, live by those words and you'll never go wrong. Don't forget rangepanda.com, Eric Steiner and Gianni Giordano. Great shooters, fantastic, and innovating and making your life even better with your range equipment. So your press gets all the 3D printed accessories and CNC parts it needs from them. Don't forget to get all the awesome key tags that you need to identify your crap, because that is important when you need to identify your things from your friends' things. Don't forget, we've got Tim Heron Shooting at timheronshooting.com. Go get on Tim's schedule, find a class near you. If not, better get on a list and tell him, hey, you want him in your area, because he's filling up quickly for 2023. He might already be full, so get on 2024's schedule and thank me later. He will take you to the next level. Then we don't forget, guys, Chile Custom Gunworks, or ccgunworks.com. Go over there and tell him Manny sent you. Order some new parts for your Staccato. I hear Staccato just came out with a new gun. It might fit a grip. I don't know, but you need it because innovation. Anyway, metal grips are best. So go get your Prodigy or your Staccato souped up with a metal grip because you want to be bougie and flex on all your Tac Timmy friends. Yeah, so guys, go over there. Check out the awesome sponsors of the podcast. They're fabulous, fantastic, and we can't thank them enough. So guys, go over there, and thank you for listening to my commercial and me ranting about all these awesome things. But anyway, let's get back to the awesome conversation I'm having with Mr. Chris Jenner from the 740. So with the channel, do you just you're lucky enough to get enough pistols in from people and whatnot, and review some things plus whatever you buy, right?
Yeah, and it's nice. I've picked up a lot of sponsors this year. So that helps with stuff coming in. Monstrum Tactical, it was crazy how I got hooked up with them. I was building a 300 Blackout rifle, and it was going to be a budget rifle. Like, I wanted to try to keep things on it cheap just to do a budget build. And when it came down to the optic, I was like, I wanted to do an LPVO. I wanted 1x6. I had a couple Vortex Strike Eagles already, but I was like, I want to go even cheaper than that. Like, I want to try to make this gun as cheap as I can. So I ended up buying a Monstrum LPVO, and I ended up really liking it. But I took a bunch of pictures and I put them on Instagram, and I ended up getting a message from them asking me for an email address. They wanted to talk to me. So a guy, my rep there, Chris, reached out. And he said, hey, we want to send you an optic for you to do some pictures and stuff with on Instagram. And I'm like, okay, that's cool. I was like, but I got a YouTube channel. Would you rather have me do a review? And at the time, they didn't know I had the YouTube channel also. So they sent out an optic, and I did the Instagram pictures for them, and then did an unboxing video, did a review, and I didn't even have 500 subscribers at the time. And I thought it was cool for a company the size of Monstrum to reach out to me and say, hey, take a chance and want me to work with them. So, and they've been unreal to work with. When I hit 1,000 subscribers, they sponsored the giveaway, and they ended up giving away 3 optics to listeners on the live chat. And they send a lot of stuff. And and when you're a content creator, it's, it can get real expensive real quick when you're buying all the stuff. I mean, the ammo alone, even reloading it, gets expensive with primers and all that. But
yeah, but think about it. If you were buying factory ammo for all your reviews, think about how much more you'd be spending for less ammo.
Oh, yeah, and it's crazy because it's like I never get anything else reloaded, but it seems like all I'm ever doing right now is reloading 9mm because I'm in the middle of the competition here. So I'm shooting matches and then doing reviews. And so it's just nonstop sitting down there reloading 9mm. I'm like, I really want to reload some rifle rounds, but there's no time right now. So that'll be my winter project. Start getting stocked up on all my other ammo.
Yeah, I like to use the wintertime to only load ammo. I don't like loading ammo like during the season or at all. Like I will stop shooting matches because I don't want to load ammo. It's like I really need to load me some ammo. Not doing it.
Yeah. I do buy quite a bit of factory 9mm just because most of the guns and optics that I'm reviewing are getting shot on a 9mm, and you get the viewers that are like, oh, well, you tailored that reload to work in that gun. And so it's nice if I do go somewhere and they got some 9mm on sale, pretty cheap, I'll buy it and then use that for test rounds on the channel, just so people can see, CCI Blazer will run through this gun, or Winchester white box, or
Now, because you started the YouTube channel prior to COVID, how bad did COVID affect you for your reviews?
Really the only thing that, luckily, I stocked up a ton on primers before COVID. So I had a really pretty good size stash built up. But the problem was, when I started doing YouTube and shooting USPSA, I was going through them pretty quick. So I kept buying them at outlandish prices, which we're still paying for them. But luckily, I was with the Discord app and things like that, I was able to get on them right away when they would come in stock. And I'd buy like 5,000 of them at a time, have them shipped to the house. And it didn't really affect me anyway, other than having to pay a lot more money for primers and factory ammo, to test on the channel.
Yeah, it's like what it was like at one point. It still probably is just as bad as like what 4 times the cost for primers.
Yeah, because when I first started reloading, I think I was paying like $3.99 a tray, and now you're paying $10.99 a tray.
Yeah. Well, you bought them in trays.
Well, just breaking it down. I mean,
I know what you mean. It's like, I mean, for a while at certain stores, you could only buy 2 trays at a time.
Oh yeah, I mean, that it's still that way at a lot of the local shops now. I mean, one of the local stores I go to, you can only buy 3 trays a day.
So you got to go every day, and maybe after the 3rd day, you'll get 1,000 primers.
Yeah, and and I was getting real, like, if I was going there to get something, it was okay. But like, I knew guys that were making special trips, and I'm like, man, the amount of fuel you're wasting just getting over there to get some 300 primers.
Yeah. No, thank you. I'll pay the price online, I guess, right?
Yeah, that's what I did.
Yeah, I mean, that's how it seems like it's going to be for a while still. At least they're becoming available. They might be expensive, but they're still available.
Yeah, they're definitely easier to get now if you want to pay the money for them.
Yeah, that's for sure. Now, what are your current goals for your USPSA shooting to start?
I knew you were going to ask this question. So when we went back to, I had a really good year in 2020. I went up to DSS, and they happened to have two classifiers that day, and I shot both those classifiers really well, and I finally got my B class that I was wanting, because I didn't start shooting USPSA till I was 45 years old. So I was kind of doing what I do for a living and everything. My body's pretty well beat up at this point, so I don't move around real quick. And but I made B class, and the following weekend we went to Briar, and that was my last match of the year in 2020. And they had an all classifier match down there, and I went down there and I did really well in that. And so I finished out the year, I think, at like 66% on my B class. And going into 2021, I'm like, I'm going to make A class this year. That's my goal. So I spent the winter, I was down in the basement doing a lot of dry fire, doing a lot of mag changes, and trying to get some speed built up. And March 21, my world got flipped upside down. I was part owner of a plumbing company, and I was ready to leave. Things weren't going the way I wanted there, and my partner and I we're not getting along. And I was like, I'm 40. At that time, I was 46. I'm like, I got to get out of here. I got to start over. And if I'm going to do it, I got to do it now, because I'm not getting any younger. So I went out and started my own plumbing company without any partners. I didn't want anybody. I didn't want any funding. I wanted it to be mine and mine only. And luckily, it worked. It ended up taking off. It's super successful now. But there was so much involved in the startup of that and everything that my 2021 year just went down the drain as far as the USPSA went. And by the end of summer, I was like kind of thinking about like, I think I'm just going to hang it up. Like, I think I'm just going to concentrate on my business and do my YouTube channel. And I took a pretty long break there. In fact, I don't even think I ended up shooting another match that year. But by the time winter rolled around, I was like, I miss it. I want to get back into it. So I kind of went in this year with, I wanted to do it just for fun. And it's obviously good practice. I mean, when you gotta, especially when you're shooting guns on a YouTube channel all day long, you gotta shoot halfway decent. So it's good practice. I would love to make A class this coming year. And I think now I'm in a place where I can set my goal to get that. So we just gotta see what happens. I love the sport. I mean, I'm just as big a fan of it as I am shooting. I'm one of those guys. Like all weekend, I was online checking national scores and getting on everybody's Instagram, and I love watching the other shooters, and that was a big reason I went to nationals this year was I wanted to do some filming there. I had never got to watch a super squad shoot live before, so it was cool to go down and see Max and Nils and Bonsick and Lockwood and all them guys. It was JJ. It was really cool to be able to follow them around for a day and watch them shoot.
Oh yeah, that is definitely cool, especially when have no pressure of shooting. You're just there to film and just take it all in. It's kind of cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, I asked you about the question about your shooting goals. Now, what about your YouTube channel? What goals do you have for that?
Yeah, I mean, I want the subscriber count to keep going. I'm on the fast track now for, I'm hoping here in the next 45 to 60 days, we'll hit the 2,000 mark and get some more sponsors. I've had a really good month. I picked up Core Essentials. They're sponsoring the channel now. So I'm doing a lot of reviews for their belts, and they have a line of sunglasses out. They just sent a pair of those to review. I'm kind of trying to figure out how to do that because I shoot with Hunter's HD Gold. Like, I won't use anything but that when shooting, but I think I'm going to figure out a way to, I really like them, but it's just Hunter's HD Gold is just on a different level when it comes to shooting. And it's the lenses, obviously. And but I just picked up North Tac Optics. Tandem Cross sends some stuff once in a while for me to review on the channel. I work with ADE Optics now. I got affiliate stuff with Brownells and a bunch of other companies. So hopefully we keep getting some more sponsors on board, get the subscriber count higher, keep interviewing a lot. I want to get some bigger name people on the live shows on Wednesday nights to talk to, and I'm in it. I'm in the YouTube for the long haul.
Right. Yeah. And for some reason I was subscribed, and then evil YouTube unsubscribed me from you, which was a little odd. But I mean, they do that to each other every once in a while.
I get that all the time.
And it's like, you see all this cool content, but yeah, the Wednesday night lives are pretty cool. And you have a good group of people who are sometimes on there, or like that you interact with, like G-Webs, and I mean, shit, he's been OG forever.
Oh yeah.
Like when you talk about gun live streamers, it was like, this will show my age and my little bit of fuddiness, but my Yankee Marshall day, when I listened to him, he is a hoot though. I looked him back up the other day, and he's still a hoot.
Oh yeah, he's still going.
Yeah. He's retired. I don't know. I can't remember what he did for like a living, but he's still a hoot.
Yeah. It's really crazy. This YouTube journey's been wild. I didn't know any of those guys that I interact with now, like G-Web, G23, all these guys that I'm on these shows with, because not only am I doing my show on Wednesday nights, I do a lot of guest appearances on 4 or 5 other chats. And the funny part about this whole story was I did a review on a chronograph that I bought, and this guy watched that video from my hometown, and he was like, that guy's shooting at the gun range I shoot at. Well, I didn't know how deep he was into the YouTube game. and he started telling his friends. So next thing I know, I'm getting all these subscriptions. Like people are just subscribing and they're saying Jason sent me, and I'm like, who are all these people? And then I got invited on my first live chat back towards the end of 21, and I went on a reloading show called Echo's Reloading Chamber. They wanted to talk to me about reloading, and I got tied in with that whole group of reloaders. And the next thing I know, I'm doing the Georgia Shooting Connection show and a bunch of other ones. And it's really been cool that it's weird to say that, you know, you have these great friends that you've met through YouTube, but you've never met them in person. Like these guys, we talk on the phone, we text back and forth all day. It's really like a big family over there. And I was lucky enough to get tied in with the reloaders. And then from there, I stemmed into different channels. Like I started doing the Saturday morning shows with Travis P11, and you know, he's a 50,000 subscriber channel. And you know, getting to meet G Webs, I mean, he's just an amazing guy to talk to. I mean, he's been, like you said, he's the original gun guy on YouTube, and it's neat to share a panel with him and chat with him. And so yeah, it's been a fun ride. I really enjoy it, and it's a good time.
Oh yeah, and it's especially cool, like, you know, you meet people you know, on the internet, and it's, you know, you always are a little leery of meeting people you've never met on the internet, but then when you meet them in person, it's like you've known them forever. It's kind of like how I met my buddy Andrew. We started talking, I was listening to his live streams from Work the Trigger, and we were listening to those, and eventually I was close enough for him. I still lived like 3 hours from him, but I drive down there, we shot a video together, collabed on it, and then we shot a USPSA match together. And it's really cool because it's just cool how you meet people and then eventually you hang out with them. So
yeah, and that was something that I wanted to start doing this year with my live show, is being that as much as I am a fan of the USPSA, I thought, okay, now I got a lot of people watching this channel. I got a lot of people tuning into this live show. So I want to start introducing people to the USPSA, and it's been really cool. I've gotten a couple viewers to come and shoot local matches with me for the first time, and you know, I want to have that outlet there to interview and talk to USPSA shooters, and hopefully get more people involved in it.
oh yeah, absolutely. And that's the best part too. You know, you just be able to involve everybody, get them in, you know, because we're all one big group. You know, usually there's some random divide between like range shooters, competition shooters, and the tactical Timmy guys. That for some reason we all can't just get along.
Yeah. Yeah.
But there's nothing wrong with just being a Saturday morning plinkster, right? Or, you know, the guy who's super worried about tactical scenarios and, excuse me, room clearing and whatnot. I mean, we all love guns, right?
Yeah.
And without, you know, just, you know, you remember back in the day when all the information you got was from a magazine?
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, just think about it. If we were still there with like firearms, like, you know, no one would know anything until like 3 months later.
Yeah, exactly.
But shit, now people like the Humble Marksman or Demo Ranch or Honest Outlaw, you know, they're always posting about the newest gun the day it comes out.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then you're driving up sales of all those different guns. I mean, I do want a Prodigy. I don't know about you, but I want a Prodigy.
I've got a buddy of mine on YouTube that he just does 2011 content. And he took the Prodigy, which they were having some issues with them there in the beginning. But he did it was like a $300 job that he does. Like you can send your Prodigy to him, and he puts a bunch of Atlas Gunworks parts in it, and he gets this thing to run like a champ. So
yeah. Now, okay, you live in Ohio, so have you met Vinny from Monsoon Tactical yet?
No, not yet.
You got to find him at some range. He goes to Crooked. No, not Crooked. Is it Crawford? Maybe it's Crawford. Maybe he goes to Crawford sometimes. You'll have to hit him up.
Okay. Yeah, I'll check that out.
His name,
Monsoon Tactical, you said?
yeah, Monsoon Tactical. His name's Vinny. I'd have to look up his last name, but it's Vinny. He shoots, staccatos all the time, and yeah, you'll have to hit him up. He's a pretty cool dude. He does a killer Cerakote job, and he's the one who invented the chunk port. Have you heard of that?
No.
The chunk port, like originally, was just literally taking it out of the like. So if my finger's like the front sight, they'd remove the front sight and just cut a giant milling across the barrel and slide. So make it like a giant one baffle compensator.
I wonder if we're talking about the same Vinny that worked at. There was south of me, there's a gun shop in Johnstown. And there was a guy and that's what they were famous for, was Cerakote work there. And there was a guy that worked there named Vinny. And I'm wondering if that's him.
Maybe. Well, I'll have to figure it out. I'll have to find a picture
Yeah.
of him or something, and then we'll figure it out. But yeah, because he's in Ohio and he does some cool stuff. Like he helps sponsor the Ohio Range Day. Do you know about the Ohio Range Day?
Yeah. So one of my best friends shot there this year. And he was trying to get me a media pass to go. And I thought it was all set in stone. And then like right there at the beginning of it, they were like, nope, he couldn't come down. So I didn't end up going.
Oh, damn. No, you definitely need to try to go and go to the Ohio Range Day and get some content, because that'll be some really good content, I think, to get.
Yeah, because I think they did helicopter shoots and everything there this year, didn't they?
Yeah, it was crazy.
Yeah.
It's crazy for sure. Now that's freaking awesome. But oh, I guess I don't have any more of those questions. I have other questions. I do. Let's go to the listener questions. I did get 2, which was better than most some people's I get, right? So from our mutual friend Jake Walker, which do you like more, filming or shooting?
Definitely shooting. Yeah.
I always get mad when I would try to do a take on something and I mess up one word in the middle and you absolutely can't cut it out. So you got to redo the whole take and you're like, son of a bitch.
Yeah, because I can't do the filming without the shooting part of it. And if I had to give one up, I would definitely give up the filming before I would give up shooting guns.
Yeah. Yeah, that's for sure. That's why we do it. We like to shoot guns.
Yeah.
But and then we got, looks like from one of your subscribers, actually, she came over and posted a question. She fires. What advice would you give to encourage others interested in competitive shooting?
I think sometimes I know that like before I went to like Area 5, I was a nervous wreck because we had to the day that the squad we ended up on, we were on like Army squad, so I had to shoot. I had to shoot with Jacob Etherington all day long.
Oh God! Oof.
And I'm like, I don't even. At that time, I hadn't even made B class yet, and I'm like, this is. And those guys were some of the coolest guys I ever got to shoot with. Like Jacob was, my son was there filming. He was talking to my boy, and if you had a question or ask him. And I think sometimes that's people getting into it. I think when they see, when they're signing up on practice score and they see that GM and M and that. But those guys everyone's been like, I can say that even like with Andrew Hyder. I mean, I've seen him just take people under their wing during a local match, and he'll help anybody out. So I know there's a lot of people that are kind of nervous to get into it, especially if they're watching these guys on Instagram and YouTube and Facebook, but everybody is super helpful, and no one's there to make fun of you or anything like that. Everyone's just there to have a good time and shoot. And I that's just something I like to stress with people, is like, just come out. It doesn't matter how high a level the guy on your squad is. He doesn't care about you being a first-time shooter, and chances are he's probably going to be helpful with you.
Yeah. All they're going to care about is that you're safe with a gun and that they're not going to get shot.
Yeah, don't 180 them.
Yeah, exactly. That's all they're worried about on your first time, is that you have fun and you're safe. Like,
yeah.
And I mean, And I love it to invite people out to the range. I mean, not a lot of everyone takes me up on the offer to come out and shoot, but we, luckily enough, the group of people that I shoot with and squad at our local match, it always seems like we get the new person out to the match. So we've got our couple of people who always like take them under the wing, give them a stage plan, and tell them how to shoot the stage, and it's awesome because then we know they're kind of safe and that we've got the eagle eye on them to make sure they don't do anything too drastic.
Yeah.
So that's cool. Now, have there been any guns you've been eyeballing lately that you just kind of want to go out and buy?
I don't have any right now at the moment, but the Walther PDP Pro is definitely one that I pre-ordered clear back in February, and I didn't end up picking it up. I think it was July. I got really lucky with that gun too, because no one on YouTube had done any reviews with it yet. And so I was out filming with that gun every single day, trying to crank out as much content on that gun as I could.
And that's the threaded barrel version, right?
Yeah, with the magwell, and it's got the new Walther Pro trigger in it. Yeah, I was gonna buy the Canic Rival, and then when I heard through the grapevine the PDP Pro is coming out, and I'm a big Walther fan anyway. That's like my fourth Walther now. And I'm like, I'm gonna wait on that Pro, and I'm glad I waited on it. I like the grip better on it than I do the Canic. So yeah, that was definitely one on the radar that I ended up getting. I just reviewed, like I said, the Staccato P. That was one gun that I wanted, but after reviewing it, it's a great gun, don't get me wrong, but I wasn't blown away by it. So I guess luckily I got to review one that was donated to the channel. Now I don't have to spend $2,500. So.
Yeah. Now, knowing what you know now shooting it, would you pay the $2,500?
No.
Yeah.
No, and I did a little something different with that video. I actually ran it against a Rock Island double stack, the TAC Ultra, and just kind of did a similar comparison to the two. And in all honesty, that was the deciding factor at the end. I'm like, I love both of these guns, but this one's $1,500 cheaper. So
yeah, it's kind of hard to beat 1,000. Well, I mean, besides that, the one takes like really proprietary mags.
Yeah.
And that's my problem with Bull Armory. Not that they make a bad gun at all. It's the fact that they have to have proprietary magazines.
Yes.
Like, and when I was originally wanting to get into open, I was like, oh, I can spend $3,500. Like, I can save and scrimp for a while and get $3,500 around. And then I'm like, oh damn, they only take bull mags, which is fine, except that you have to totally be 100% reliable on your own magazines. So, say a mag goes down in a match, you're SOL because you can't borrow another open gun shooter's mags.
No. Yeah, and I mean, even I see every now and then I'll squad with a guy shooting a Bull Armory, but they're not that popular yet. Like I don't know if they're going to get more popular than what they already are, but it's definitely a gun you don't see too many of them at the matches locally around here.
Yeah, well, I mean, in my defense, I shoot with a guy who shoots 2 bulls. Like that's his gun. Like he's like, I'm a bull guy, right? So he squads with me every match. He's a buddy of mine. So I always see him and it's kind of cool. That was my first introduction to an open gun. But yeah, they might, well, now that their dealer system actually works, it seems like, because for a while they just weren't bringing guns into the country. But now they actually have dealers and you can get a hold of a dealer and order a gun. Yeah, I think they might become more popular.
I still haven't yet got to shoot one. I mean, are they up there with the other open guns you've shot? Like,
I mean, they are, I would call them still a production gun, production 2011 open gun. Now, I've been spoiled, I guess. I mean, I've shot a bull, I've shot, a couple custom guns that people have had made, but no real, they're kind of hard to compare, because one's, the bull's a little looser. It's a factory, they make it, but those loosening some of those tolerances make it somewhat more reliable. Because kind of like the new MPAs, they've got a little more not slop, I should say. There's a little less, they're not as tight in the back, but it makes it more reliable.
Right.
So, I mean, there's the give and the take, right? Like, oh, it's going to be super tight forever. But you were like, you remember back in the day, less bears, right? Less bear 1911s that literally you had to like shoot to, to actually function. Like
Yeah.
500 rounds to get
Yeah.
them to work. I mean, I don't want a gun that tight, because if it's that tight, that's going to be a pain in the ass. Like, you're going to have malfunctions just because you're breaking it in.
Yeah.
And I don't believe in a break-in period. I think that's a load of bullshit. Be like, that's just because you didn't want to like make sure the gun worked before it came. You didn't want to guarantee the gun when I bought it.
Yeah.
But so I mean, the bullet guns are nice. They feel, they've got the different aesthetics, but a lot of it's on aesthetics. I find, that's why people spend $11,000 on an Infinity.
Yeah.
Because they want the bling, they want the sparkle and the pizzazz.
Yeah. They are beautiful guns, man.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, I've definitely fondled plenty of good looking Infinities. That's for sure.
Yeah.
So that's cool. So it's kind of insightful now. For a lot of people, my listeners don't know your Wednesday night lives. Do they typically have the same topic or with different people, or do you try to dive into different topics depending on who's on?
Yeah, I really try to mix my show up. A lot of the guys that I do shows with, it's kind of the same format. Like if I do Georgia Shooting Connection, it completely revolves around reloading.
Mm-hmm.
We did actually do, and it ended up turning into 9 episodes. I didn't know how deep that was going to get, but we came up with this idea. We're going to do a show called Reloading for Beginners. So we're going to start them right out the gate. Buy a book, read the manual. This is what you want to get your first press. But it ended up like turning into 9 episodes, and it was a great time. I had guys that were on that panel that 9 weeks that have been reloading for 40 years plus. And I learned a lot, but it was getting away from what I normally like to do, because I like to try to have a different topic every week. Like one week I interviewed the guys from Lead and Steel. They were getting ready to come out with their own red dot. They designed it from the ground up. And in fact, it just, I think, came available Sunday, actually. So I got those guys on to talk about the red dot. And then the next week, we talked to some USPSA shooters. And then the next week we might talk to a reloader. So I'm always trying to mix it up. And I also like bringing other YouTube channels on that might have lower subscriber counts, just to try to, channels that I enjoy watching, and I want other people to find them so they can enjoy it too. So I do a lot of different stuff with the channel.
Yeah.
With the live stream.
Yeah, because that was pretty cool. A couple weeks ago, you did the one about nationals, with Keith and Tanfo, Timmy, Jake, and Josh. So that was really cool. That was a longer one, but then
I was so excited about that show, and it turned out great. We were actually supposed to get Lockwood on, and then right at the last minute, because he's a cop in California, and he had some mandatory meeting he had to go to, and but I've talked to him since then. He goes, I'd really still like to come on and do the show one night. So maybe, I'll be able to get him on one of these Wednesday nights and talk to him.
Yeah, that's definitely got to be hard for you because we're East Coasters.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, I remember the time I recorded with Amy Abbott and Jason, not at the same time, but Amy Abbott or Amy 556 and Jason Woods of Targets USA. That was like the longest day ever because I had to do it at the right time for them, which was probably like 10 o'clock my time anyway.
Yeah.
So,
and that's, I get grief from a lot of I used to start my show at 8 Eastern, and my co-host is in Oregon, so he's 3 hours behind me. So that's why we had to bump it to 9 o'clock, because he was trying to rush home and get online with me live. And, it's 5 o'clock there. He's getting off work at like 4:30 and having to rush home. So that was why we bumped it 1 hour ahead, was to make it easier for him.
Yeah, that's for sure. You got to make it easier on them, but it is what it is, right? We all live on the internet now, so it's kind of easier to flex your schedule, especially with you being a business owner. You really don't care when you go to work, right? You're like,
right, sometimes.
Yeah, it's like, oh, like, all right, employee, you handle this job. I got to go do a thing.
Yeah.
which has got to be nice. It's got to be nice to be flexible, especially at your age. You know, you own your business. You know, you're not stuck doing that 9 to 5, like punching the clock. You know,
Right.
you punch the clock in other ways.
Yeah.
Well, Chris, I've got a couple more questions, and then we're gonna wrap this puppy up because it's been a really fun time. Actually, I've really enjoyed this. But so growing up, or no, not even that. So as you started this YouTube journey, who have been some of your biggest mentors as you've progressed?
I started out, like everybody else on YouTube. We all start out watching the big channels first. We don't type in something looking for the specific gun. So now the funny thing is I don't watch a lot of the big channels now because of now the fact that I'm friends with a lot of these guys with smaller channels. But I would have to say probably my biggest inspiration for YouTube to get into it was Honest Outlaw. Like I loved his channel. He was just this gruff guy walking out into his backyard on his private range, and if he hates the gun, he's cussing it the whole time, and so he was kind of a big influence for me to get and we all would love to have 850,000 subscribers or whatever he's up to now.
Right, or be able to shoot across the street. Like, oh, I'm just gonna shoot this steel plate from across the road.
Yeah.
Like, ding. I'm like, what? Like, I mean, he lives down the middle of what, Oklahoma or something. I guess I don't know where
he's in
now.
Iowa. But they just bought new property somewhere they're building on. So I think he's gonna have like an 800-yard range now at this new property that he's bought. But I think I know they're leaving. I don't think they're staying in Iowa though.
Well, that's cool. I mean, it's kind of cool because you see people progress, and right, they just keep going and going. That's kind of cool.
Yeah.
I don't know. I remember. Do you remember Nut and Fancy?
Yeah.
I mean, I used to watch him religiously back in the day. Now I don't even it's not even on my radar.
Yeah. And that's the way it is for me now. I mean, I've become personal friends with so many of these YouTubers, and you only got so much time in the day to sit down and try to watch everybody's content. And I try to break up like the live streams that I can't catch live. I listen to those at work while I'm driving the truck, when I'm in and out of the truck running parts and heading from one job site to the next. That's when I try to get caught up on my live shows. That's when I listen to all your shows, is during the day at work. And then, but at night, like I'm laying in bed and I'm trying to get caught up on the content that my buddies have created. So
I will say this: I very, very rarely watch firearms content.
Yeah,
it's just how well, besides the fact that now you can watch YouTube Shorts on your phone, and you're just scrolling through it like TikTok and shit, and you're just like, ooh. I mean, I blame it lately. It's been a lot of Game of Thrones stuff because House of the Dragon came out.
Oh yeah,
and
I finally got to watch last Sunday night's episode last night. That was wild.
I'm a couple episodes behind because HBO kind of cut my subscription for some. Well, because AT&T was paying for my subscription, but then I cut my TV services. So I thought that I was double booked with my phone coverage and my TV. So like, oh, cancel the TV because I wasn't watching it hardly. And then there's like, no, it's like, fuck, I'm not paying $15 a month right now. I'll wait till the season's over and then watch the rest of them.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I mean, I gotta watch that. But yeah, that's cool. I guess. Oh, there we go. So you did mention a couple of them earlier, but I do want to make sure we get pay them their respects and help them pay the bills, as I call it, of your sponsors for your channel.
Oh yeah. So my two main sponsors are Monstrum Tactical and Core Essentials. And then ADE Advanced Optics is another big one. Tandem Cross helps me out with some stuff here and there, and then I've just got a list of affiliates that I work with. But yeah, my main sponsors that I like to give a shout out to are Monstrum, Core, and ADE.
Well, that's awesome, and yeah, without them, it makes things easier when you have a little bit of the support, which is kind of cool. But yeah, so that's awesome, guys. So go check out those companies because they help us. So that's kind of awesome. And Chris, where can they make sure to find all of your good content at?
Yeah, you can find me on YouTube, Chris from the 740, and Chris from the 740 on Instagram. And I thanks a lot for having me on. This was a good time. I enjoyed this.
No problem. It was fun for me. I mean, we had fun. We had a great conversation, and they get to listen to it and enjoy it too. Like they were here drinking with us, because that's kind of like how it goes.
Yeah.
But like Chris, like I said, thank you for coming on. This has been a blast. And listeners, thank you for checking out this episode of Manny Talks Shooting. Until next time, get out and do the things, and I will see you on the next one.